795
Not off
is
the
no
top.
photographing, videoing, or sketching of a military installation from on top of federal property.
They're all the way down there because we have jurisdiction over there also.
All the way down.
Officer here, Sergeant Hunt, is telling you is factual in this case. So according to 18 U.S.C. 795, you're not allowed to film or record a military installation.
It said on your camera that you filmed those guys in the guardhouse.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Welcome to Mr. White, the place where real encounters between law enforcement and the people unfold before your eyes. Today, you're about to witness a tense confrontation at the gates of Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst, one of the largest military installations in the United States. Located in Cookstown, New Jersey, spanning over 42,000 hectares, the base is jointly operated by the Air Force, Army, and Navy. On the gloomy, damp afternoon of Sunday, September 29th, 2024, a determined citizen from the Channel Shore Points Audits arrived with a camera and a mission to challenge the true boundary of public rights. Standing on a public sidewalk, he began filming the base entrance. Within minutes, at least 6 armed military personnel arrived, demanding that he leave, show ID, and even threatened arrest under Title 18 U.S.C. 795. But here's the question: does military authority override the First Amendment? Can you be arrested for filming from a public space? Watch the original footage on Shore Points Audits and see the tension unfold. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mr. White's channel for more powerful legal encounters where knowledge is your shield and the camera is your lawful weapon.
Hi. All right, how are you? Hold on a second. What's your name? What's your name? I didn't hear you. I'd like you to identify yourself.
I already identified myself.
Well, you can keep on moving. I'm going to keep on filming you.
Right. Well, you can't film the front gate.
Of course I can.
No, you can't.
So.
I'm not going back and forth with you, sir.
You can go. You're right. You're not going to go back and forth with me.
Do you have any identification on?
Of course I do.
That's your identification.
Absolutely not.
That's not. Then you're going to have to exit.
Do you understand something? Your premises ends at that gate and then that fence.
It does not.
Yes, it does.
If you do not leave, you'll be trespassing.
Where do you think your property line is? Because I checked.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay.
You going to identify yourself?
Not at all.
Then have a good day.
And if I don't leave,
Have a good day.
I'm not leaving.
You're not leaving.
Your line ends at that gate. You may not like it. I'm just curious. Are you Army or Air Force? Oh, we got number 2. This is getting good. Hello.
Hello. What's going on?
Not much. I'm just sitting here conducting a constitutionally protected activity.
Well, why I'm here?
Because this is a good place to do it. May I ask who it is I'm speaking to?
It's Officer Judy.
Officer Judy. I'm just curious.
Okay.
Are you Air Force or actually Air Force or Army?
Air Force.
Okay. Just wondering.
Can I have your name?
Good citizen.
Okay.
You could try and circle around me and intimidate me all you want. It ain't gonna work.
We're just talking.
I know.
Just having a conversation.
I am here, and this officer Johnson. All right, I'm sorry. I just didn't catch your name when you said it. There's traffic going on. All right. Is questioning why I'm here, as are you, and believes that. Well, you can call I guess Pemberton or whoever. They'll probably tell you the same thing, but your authority ends at that fence line. It's just as simple as that. All right. They may not want me to take pictures over there, but I have every right to take pictures over there. This has been well documented by Air Force Command and by Navy Command. I'm not so sure about the Army, but guys like me are able to come to places like this. Obviously, I can't go onto the base. I'm not trying to go onto the base or anything like that. But we're allowed to come here and film the comings and goings. That's all I'm doing.
See, you recording is not an issue. You can't record the entry and exit of a federal installation.
Yes, I
And
can.
You can't record on federal property.
I'm not on federal property. Well, first of all, yes, I can record on federal property because I record the. Yeah, absolutely, because it's. That's once I go inside that gate. I'm not inside that gate. You can't trespass my eyes. If I was sitting here,
Well, you can stand out there.
but you gotta understand something. There is no difference between out there and in here. That's why they have that sidewalk going up to that gate. That's why that warning sign is not out there. It says, do not cross this line. Your property line is that gate.
Okay, so our property line is not that gate. Our property line is from there all the way down there because we have jurisdiction over there also.
All the way down where?
All the way down.
I'll tell you what. You show me the demarcation point, and I'll and.
That's not our job out here to show you.
Well, no, you're sitting there. You're claiming something. You're claiming something that is not true.
Engineer, and that you know what the interest of a base is supposed to look like. So
No, I said I know where the property line is.
actually don't. But
Well, you're sitting here. You're sitting here disputing it with me.
I'm not disputing it. I'm telling you exactly what it is. Right?
Okay, well, where's the
You can't
property
film-
line?
You can't film the entry and exit of the gate.
Yes,
You
I can.
potentially try to do that by turning.
No, I'm
And
gonna.
you already came over here.
I'm gonna sit here. I got the guys over there in the little blue tent. I got the guys in the actual guardhouse, and I got the guys in the
Just said
portal.
on your camera that you filmed those guys in the guardhouse.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes, I did. I zoomed in on them. I filmed them. I saw the one guy. He was sitting there fidgeting because I figured he was gonna come up there, and he was making sure that he looked good on film.
So you're attempting to film the entry. Well, you did film the entry and exit of the gate.
And that is
100%.
And that is against the law, sir.
What law?
It's considered federal jurisdiction.
What law?
It's a federal
Tell
law.
me what law. Tell me a code.
Go look it up.
No, 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 no,
It's
no, 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 no,
considered
no,
a
no, no,
sensitive
no.
location.
You can't tell me there's a crime being committed unless you know what the crime is.
Yes.
All right. I know for a fact there is no crime being committed
Okay, how do you know that?
because this is not the first time I've done this, my friend.
Uh-huh.
All right. I've even been here. I don't know why. Well, let's put it this way. Yes, I understand that there's different soldiers, security, you know, whatever the proper term is for you officers at the gate. All right. Normally it's the one down the road, you know, and it's a little bit clearer because you got that big old blue stripe on the ground. All right. It makes it very easy. All right. That's why I double check. All right. All along the fence line as a right of way because there's no sidewalk on this side of the road. That's why the property line is backed up to the gate. This, like I said, I've checked this. All right, I'm allowed to film them. All right, even I'll tell you what. Just for argument's sake and shits and giggles, let's just say I was sitting right out there at the corner. I'm still allowed to zoom in and film them
Why?
because I want to. It's a day that ends in Y, and I get off on it. I mean, I just want to. How's that? If you could show me, all right, any contradiction to the fact that the property line is that gate or a clear demarcation, I'll gladly relocate. But to sit here and tell me that, you know, I stand there in that corner and film those guys there, that I'm breaking a law, I know you're wrong. I know for a fact you're wrong. 100%. Without any doubt.
But yet you can't show us anything.
What do you mean?
Well, you're trying to tell us where our property line is.
Yeah.
Show me.
I'm a little busy filming right now. All right. I checked this beforehand, but as a guard and security officer for this base, you should know exactly where your authority ends.
Okay, brother, but I'm telling you, it's a federal law because this is considered.
What's the law? Give me a
It's considered
statute.
a successful location.
I film chemical plants, all right, and everything else like that. DHS has sent a memo out to every federal institution, authority, whatever it is you want to call it. They did it in 2018 and they redid it in 2022, and it says, people film. Oh, sorry, I'm not trying to.
No, go ahead.
No, people filming in public from a public area are to be left alone. Alright? Like I said, I've done this before. Alright? I understand why there might be concerns. I'm not denying any of that stuff. Alright? But I'm telling you right now that if I said, you know, I'm a little scared of ladders because I fell off one.
Okay.
But if I set a ladder up or like a cherry picker right up there in that corner, and I sat there with the zoom lens, you know, like a cartoon length zoom lens.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever it is I can see. If I want, you know, I can't shoot obviously into people's bedrooms or anything like that. But anything I can see from public, you cannot trespass the eyes. All right. If you thought that that was the case, you would know the code. Just like I'm sure you're very well aware of like whatever the code is if a airman or a soldier was speeding on base and you gave him a speeding ticket or something like that. You know, I'm sure certain ones you know by the book, and we go from there. Hi guys.
Hi.
All right, if you don't mind, who am I speaking with?
Sergeant Hunt.
Sergeant Hunt and
Officer
the other
Diana.
gentleman that just showed up.
Officer Diana.
Officer
What
Diana.
can we do for you today?
Leave me alone. That's about it.
Okay. So, right now you are more than free and welcome to record right over there, right across the street on that side.
Across the
This
street.
side of the street
Yeah.
is federal property. And
No.
per USC code, 18 USC, correct?
Uh-huh.
You know what that is?
I know what it is.
795. You know what that one is? 795
Not off the
is no
top.
photographing, videoing, or sketching of a military installation from on top of federal property.
But I'm not on federal property.
You are.
See, no, I'm not. Your
You are.
your property line ends at that gate.
So on as far as jurisdiction goes, once you hit the curb line and in, is federal property.
So you think
Once you go curb line and across that way, you are no longer on federal property. You are 100% good to go.
So
on recording.
you think that if I sit on that publicly accessible corner, that any kid that can walk down the street, all right, forget about the camera.
Yeah.
All right, you're telling me that anybody walking down that street to that corner right there
Yes, sir.
is trespassing?
No, they're not trespassing because it's an open area.
Okay.
However, you're free to stand here all you want. You're
Okay.
good. You're not trespassing as far as we're concerned.
Okay.
The problem is you're violating 18 USC 795.
Which is the filming part?
The filming and the photography. yes.
Okay, guess what? I have no problem filming in public. That I'm not worried about.
Okay.
All
So
right.
you can film from right back there. You're good to go.
No, I am filming in public. You just
You
clearly
are
state.
filming on federal property.
No, your federal property ends at
No,
that gate.
federal property starts at the curb line, sir. That's why
No,
you're
it
not
doesn't.
understanding.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it
Okay?
doesn't. Have you ever heard of this thing called an easement?
Yes,
All right. Why do you
I've heard
think?
of an easement.
Because why do you think your warning sign is on the gate over there? It doesn't say. There's nothing right there that says do not cross this
You
line.
understand why we give an easement? So that public people can walk up and down the street without violating trespassing property.
Yeah, I know. And
So
once
that's what the easement is, right?
and until I go through that gate.
Okay,
all right.
listen to what I'm saying. The easement begins right there, right? You understand what I'm saying? At the curb line.
Easement can be at the curb line. Where's the easement end?
But this is still federal property.
Where does the easement end?
As soon as you break right here, this is the vehicle entrance spot. So as soon as you break the curb line, right?
No.
The curb line is right there, about
No.
50 feet behind us.
I'll tell you what. I believe you're wrong, and if you feel so, go call local PD and let them deal with it. Because I'm not on your property.
You are on our property, and I really don't want to have to cite you or arrest you. But if you're refusing to comply with a lawful
And what would
order,
I be
sir,
arrested for?
You will be for refusing to comply with a lawful order. You're being
None.
requested to leave the area nicely for violating 18 USC 795, which you will also be charged with because you're refusing to turn the camera off.
No. All right, let's be clear. All right, because things matter. All right,
Things
because
do matter, you're right.
I'm gonna go to your base commander, and and I got a little shock for you. When I go to him, you're gonna let me through that gate, and I am gonna film when I'm talking to him. All right, just to be 100% clear, so that everybody's crystal. All right, that from here, right where I'm standing, I'm just gonna take a little 360. All right. Sorry, everybody who's gonna get dizzy from that. That me filming the guards and the entrance is a crime.
Filming from right here, yes, is a crime. You are on federal property, sir.
Okay,
That's
then
what
I'll
I'm
tell you
saying.
what. We're gonna go right over here because I know for a fact at this corner I could zoom and I could film whatever the hell it is I want, and there's nothing you can do about
You're
it.
100% correct. From the corner where that sign is over there, you're 100% correct.
What sign?
Fountain Square North sign.
Oh, you're high. You must be absolutely high as shit. You're not going to
From
abuse
that-
your,
from
sir.
that
You're not
picture
going to
right
abuse
here.
your color of authority. And I tell you right now, go get the senior officer on duty for the entire base. Because I'll tell you right now, before you make a mistake, all right. Because I will gladly. I don't want to do that because you're not a cop. You're a soldier, and I don't want to do it. All right, but I'll gladly cause problem. I'm not going to get physical. I'm not going to resist or anything like that. But legal issues, legal problems rather. All right, because I know under the UCMJ you're held to a certain standard. You guys, when you all signed up, whether you were going to be a cop, a fighter pilot, a computer person, whatever the hell it is you guys do for the Air Force, you guys raise your right hand and says, I hereby swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And the very first part of it where it says freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom to redress my government, which I am a member of the press, gathering content for the story. You come here and are violating my rights.
I'm not violating your rights.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not, sir.
If you think that I'm going across the street to film you, you are nuts.
It's similar to the protests that come into the area. We respectfully request, because you're on federal property, we give you guys the proper amendments, right? We don't wanna
I
violate your
can't
constitutional
say anything about protests. I've
They
never been here
step
for
right
that.
over there without any issue, and they exhibit their rights. to
Well,
protest.
that's because they're protesting. The whole point is not to see the people in and out. The whole people is to get on the thing. I'm telling you right now, just so we are clear, and we are 100% crystal clear, because I'm going to be here, I'm going to go to that corner, and if you decide to arrest me, oh, it's on. All right? But I can tell you right now, all right, that I could sit there, and I could film them all day. You can't do anything about it, and I suggest before you, Sergeant, make a terrible mistake, that you get somebody that has a little bit more authority than you. But I'll go right over here, all right? Because we both know
So
you
say,
didn't.
all right, if you're a member of the press, let me see your credentials.
There's not a. I'm not at a press credentialed event. See what happens is in the state. Excuse me, in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. When you're a member of the press, the only time you get a press credential is if you're at what they call a credentialed event, usually a political event.
So do you work for a press agency?
Independent contractor whose stories get picked up
Okay,
nationwide.
Understood.
All right.
Understood.
And I'm very well aware, because as I said, you aren't here for that. Not only do I do this at other military installations, I've done it at the base, because here's the thing. I know if the other gate was open, you guys have a nice blue line, or you might be yellow or whatever color you painted it this year, but you have a nice line on the ground where I go right up to that line.
Yes, sir.
All right. According to the rules, over here, in this particular section, because I looked at it was Arnold Avenue,
So what?
The line
what's
is
your
that-
resource on that? Where are you getting that information from?
the GIS survey, and then also
When
the
was
base
last updated?
about 2 weeks ago.
I don't believe that's correct.
Well, you could go look it up yourself. How about that?
I will.
All right. And not only that, I believe you have an older version on your actual website, but like I said, that's not taking into account the gate moving. All right. But I'm going to go sit on that corner. All right. If you think that I'm going to move, because believe me, I can still see them from over there. I don't really care. All right. But if you think that I'm going to move from there, I suggest you get somebody before you do something.
Like I said, the easement begins on the order with the curb line. So
And where does
enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
and again, where does the easement end?
What's that?
Where does the easement end?
At the curb line, right there.
No, it can't start and end at the same place.
The curb line, where the sidewalk is. That's why the sidewalk is there. Once you cross
This
over
is
the
a sidewalk.
This sidewalk is for people coming onto the base that have access. You do not have access to this base.
Again, that gate. All right.
Yes, for the gate.
I'll tell you what.
However, this is all federal.
Go get me your supervisor.
I am the supervisor.
No, go get your
My
supervisor.
supervisor is home. It's a Sunday.
And guess what? I'm sure there's a chief, a chief, a warrant officer, somebody
I'm
like
a high-ranking
colonel,
officer.
something like
I'm
that.
a
Lieutenant.
high-ranking worker,
So on this entire base, you're the highest ranking one.
so. On a Sunday, yes.
Okay.
For the
Well,
police department, yes.
no. I'm not talking about from the police. I'm talking overall.
The base is not going to. I can make the request for you if you want to speak to them.
I
but
am.
I highly doubt they're going to come out.
I am. I am for.
Meet me halfway then. Meet me back at the corner over here, and then we'll go from there.
I'll wait here.
Now we can meet over there, and then we'll.
I'll wait here, because I'll tell you what. This is still a public sidewalk. I understand you really do believe that. All right, and you really think that you're going to intimidate me into.
Nobody's trying to intimidate you. I'm
This
trying
is
to
not
talk to
federal
you.
property.
Man.
I understand
No one's
that.
trying to talk. No one's trying to
Okay,
intimidate
well,
you.
well, man to man, this is public property. This is not federal property until I get there. All right, this is part of the easement.
Okay.
Do you think that power box was put in by the federal department. This little gray power box right here.
No, but we have
Do you think that was put in by the federal government or the utility? Do you think the utility?
because utilities run into the base. The people need service, right?
Different
So there's
rules on the
there's a
base.
mutual agreement between the state and the federal government.
Different rules on the base.
Where are you getting your information from?
Cars are in the way. We don't know.
Sir, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, not too bad.
May I ask who I'm speaking to?
My name is Second Lieutenant Elliott, sir.
Hi, Second Lieutenant. And yourself, ma'am? I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear you.
Sorry, Jack.
Lieutenant, sorry, Second Lieutenant, sorry. How are you today?
I'm not doing too bad. How about you, sir?
I am doing great. I am just only wishing to be left alone here. As I've discussed with your officers, I know there's some confusion because, well, I understand the desire to keep as secure as possible. But the simple fact of the matter is, I hate to say it this way, but the property line is that gate. This is all considered the easement, and me shooting, excuse me, bad choice of words, admittedly, me filming your security hut over there is not a problem, not illegal or anything like that. I've done this before. I've done it before at this base. Admittedly, not when there's construction, whatever you got going on, I'm down at the normal main thing. But I go right up to the line, sit there with the tripod, and that's that. Now, you may not want me to do it. You may question, you may think it's weird that I'm doing it. But the simple fact, and I'm not armed or anything, so don't worry. The simple fact of the matter is, I'm allowed to do it. So I'm just sitting here peacefully, just exercising my First Amendment right, gathering content for a story. And I now have 6 soldiers, all of which are armed. Oliver, come here, don't trip anybody up. And it shouldn't be an issue. All right. If I go past that gate, it becomes your issue. But the camera, have you ever heard the saying, you cannot trespass the eyes? If I'm sitting here, me filming with the camera is no different than me sitting here just staring at you. All right. It's a little different if you're not used to it. I get it. But under no circumstances, all right, can they tell me that what I'm doing is wrong, that what I'm doing is improper, illegal, against USC code, I think he said 795 or 745 or whatever. I'll go look that statute up later because I know that it doesn't really exist. All right, or it doesn't exist in which way that he matters. If I was, let's say, soldier or even an enlisted person's family member, oh, for absolutely not. I cannot go do what I'm doing and start filming you guys. But from here, can't do it. The officer thinks that if I go on the other side of the street that it's okay, or originally I was gonna sit there and say, okay, I'll go to this corner here, but once he told me that I'm not even allowed to do it from that corner, well, my niceness wore off. Sorry. You know, I'm not here to cause problems. I'm not here, you know, I'm not going to fight you guys or anything like that. There's no threat of violence or anything of that issue. But I do know for 100% that I'm allowed to sit here and do what I'm doing. All right, you may not like it. You may not even understand it. But again, your oath that you swore, whenever you swore in before you went to the Air Force basic training, is exactly for what I'm doing right here. The whole point of that is to do right here. You know?
Yes, sir. So, what my officer here, Sergeant Hunt, is telling you is factual in this case. So, according to 18 USC 795, you're not allowed to film or record a military installation while on that federal installation's property.
But I'm not.
In the case of this base, everything from that road, once you hit the grass line this way, is federal property. It is
no, because you have
military
to. There's an easement, and easement comes all along this property. Like I said, I looked it up on the GIS survey. All right, It goes right up to that fence line.
So this right here is a physical demarcation, but that physical demarcation does not indicate the full jurisdiction of our property.
Where do you believe is the physical demarcation?
The physical demarcation for this right here.
Because we gotta be is the fence line.
The fence line is what prevents you from coming on the base, and it is the deterrent from you coming
No,
on
the
the base.
deterrent's that sign.
But once you come to that grass line there from that roadway, right along the road there, that is where you become on federal property, military jurisdiction at that point. And so according to 18 U.S.C. 795, you cannot be filming right here.
Do you really think that's true?
Yes, sir.
So I did just call
Yeah,
and
it's
your
a
request.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 officers willing to risk their career on that one.
So I did just call and confirm with our captain. I got a hold of him.
Mm-hmm.
It is true. Once you break that curb line, you are correct. We're not going to charge you for being on this area, but you are filming. Okay, so if you were up and down here going
But
for a
you
walk,
no. Here's
if
the whole
you were
thing.
walking
If
the
I'm
dog,
allowed to
can
be
I just
here,
finish?
if I'm
Listen to
allowed,
what I'm saying.
okay.
You are allowed to be here, but the camera cannot be rolling. That's in violation of 18 U.S.C. 795. If you take the turn this off, then we are good to go.
I'm not turning it off. So now what?
And you will be charged with 18 U.S.C. 795.
And what does that entail?
I mean, if you fail to identify yourself, then we will charge you with that code.
Well, I'm not. Again, I'm not on federal property. I'm
You
on a.
are on
I'm on
federal
a.
property.
No. Excuse me.
This is what I'm trying to tell you.
This
okay?
property right here belongs to the state of New Jersey.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, okay? You're only hearing what you want to hear. When you break that roadway, this whole area, up and down this area, is ours. It's federal property, okay? As soon as you go to that side, as soon as you hit the concrete, that is a state road right there.
So you think that there's no place that people could be on this side?
No, you are allowed to be on this side. You're not allowed to film. You're not listening to what I'm saying.
But no,
You're allowed to walk your dog, do whatever you got to do right here.
And
hang
here's
out,
what
have
you're
a
not.
picnic.
Here's
Oh,
what you're not
all I want.
understanding. All right, any place that I'm allowed to be, I'm allowed to film.
No, you're not. Not on federal property.
I'm not on federal
You
property.
are on federal property. We're not going to sit here and have this discussion. We're not going to argue about it with you.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
I-
I'm
I-
gonna go right to that corner,
I
and if you
made your
choose, and if
request.
you choose to arrest me or use force on me, because it will take force, because I will not identify. I 100% will not identify to you, and you will have to use force. All right, that will be you throwing away your entire career. And anyone else that decides that they're gonna do it, because we'll go sit right here. If you think that that's the case. We are on this side of the guideline for a public telephone wire. Nope. What was that? Okay. They don't understand how phones work and how bad they just fucked up. I'm literally at the underneath the power lines on this side of it, so. Oh, guess what? You just gave me a better angle. Now just move along, because you're dismissed. Get your cars out of my shot. Oh, wait a second, Sergeant. Hey, Sergeant.
Thank you for watching until the end of the video. What you've just witnessed isn't just a tense argument at a military gate, but a vivid illustration of one of the most common confrontations between citizens and authorities, the boundary between governmental power and constitutional rights. In Cookstown, New Jersey, a small town with fewer than 1,000 residents located adjacent to Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst, the largest tri-service military base in the United States, an independent videographer faced off with at least 6 armed military personnel simply for filming from a public sidewalk. On the rainy afternoon of Sunday, September 29th, 2024, he didn't shout or resist. Instead, he calmly asserted his right to film in a public space and refused to provide identification without being legally detained. When confronted with references to 18 U.S.C. 795, he firmly asked for clear legal justification, boundary definitions, and cited First Amendment protections. This incident underscores a crucial lesson. Knowing the law is not enough. Understanding the geographical and legal limits of its enforcement is your greatest weapon. If you're not trespassing, not detained, and not violating any posted restrictions, you have the right to record, remain silent, and demand legal clarity before submitting to authority. What would you do in this situation? Would you stand your ground like the man in this video? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Mr. White for more real-life legal encounters, where justice doesn't belong to the powerful, but to those who know their rights and dare to use them.